Hey guys, it's Judy, and I have a card process for you guys, and this is a birthday card for my sister. And this is like my third time trying to do this voiceover. But anyway, it's a regular A2 size card, and I'm taking a regular cardstock 8.5 by 11, cutting it at 5.5 and scoring it 4 1/4. And I'm using this PaperSmooches stamp set, which is super adorable. It's an older stamp set, but it has these cute plants and flowers on it. And I thought my sister would think that was cute. And I am just going to try to keep it simple and just do stamping on the white cardstock and do some coloring. So it's a Nina's Solar White cardstock that I will be stamping on. And I took out my Misty stamping tool, which I love. I've used it quite a few times to make multiple cards, and then definitely I use it when I have more than one stamp that I want to stamp at once. It's really helpful for that. And if I want to make sure I don't have to restamp and restamp, or if I won't get a crisp image, this is perfect because it keeps the same position. So it's like a Stamp-A-Majig, only fancier. But I really like how it works. And I couldn't wait to try out my Spectrum Noirs that I purchased for $7.99 for a pack of, 6 markers? So they work out like $1.30 each, $1.30 each marker, as compared to Copics, which are like $4 to $7 a piece. So, and they really worked well. I really like them. The nib is a lot stiffer than the Copic, which is more of a brush tip. And they came in like the same hues, type of color hue, and like reds and pinks and so forth. So they are alcohol markers, so you can blend them like with the Copics or mix and match with the Copics. They work well together, and I thought they were good. I kind of like this stiff nib. I love my Copics though, but for the price I think they do a good job, especially when my coloring isn't like too intricate, like with like 3 shades of one color. These are pretty like fun and whimsical, and I don't go into too much shading. It's just I usually use like 2, maybe 3, not like more than that. And that's my son. He's joining me. He's sitting on my lap. So he will help me color. So if you want to stick around and watch. But yeah, real simple coloring with 2 tones. And I like to test it out. You'll see I have my scratch piece of paper over there, just because I like to test out what the colors look like when they actually go on the paper. And I'm thinking, do I make blue flowers? I couldn't decide, because I really wanted to use the Spectrum Noirs, but then I didn't have any yellows or oranges, so I ended up using my Copics, because the card base is yellow, so I wanted to add some yellow to the actual images. And my son's pointing out, that's the flower right there. And I'm like, what color should I choose to make the flower pot? And my son says blue, of course. That's his favorite color. He chooses for me. I color that one, and then he wants to join in, so he'll color the bottom portion. And I was a little nervous because he's kind of hack with coloring. He usually doesn't color inside the lines, but it's for his auntie, so I thought it was sweet. And he did a very good job, if you look here. Excellent job. And that's just him. And you see how bendable and flexible that Copic is? Really smooth and easy to use as far as Copics. But the Spectrum Noirs do not bend like that. One other thing about the Spectrum Noirs is the size of the barrel is much thicker. And it's not round. I think it's like a hexagon, so it's able to lay on your table without rolling, you know, because it has a flat side. But they were pretty thick as far as my grip, so it was an interesting observation. So next, of course, I wanted to add more stuff, and I saw they had bees, so because it looked very one-dimensional, I wanted to add more things. You'll see I have 2 stamps on there. I usually like, when I do backgrounds, I like to put 2 stamps on for least amount of work possible, but I needed to do one stamp at a time because it didn't look right anyway, if that makes any sense for you guys. So here's my son. He's coloring with the Copics and the yellow, the bees. He did a pretty good job there. And then I'm the one who messed up, and I colored the wings yellow. And he said, "Mommy, why are the wings yellow? They shouldn't be yellow." So I went in with C1, like a gray. And he also suggested that I use stars. He brought out that punch and said, "Let's put some stars in dark blue, just in the background." And I thought it was a great touch. He's like, "'Cause it's a sky." So he gives me great suggestions. And I'm using glossy accents just to put down first, and then I use a quick stick to place all those small little bits of stars onto like the glossy accents. And then I just use, because one end is like a putty side and then the other is a stick, and I love that tool, especially because my thick fingers, I have a hard time picking small things up. And then you see I just pressed like down on it with a piece of paper to make sure everything's stuck down. And then I always like to ground things with either a strip of cardstock or ribbon. And here I'm going to stamp the birthday sentiment. And this is from my Gossamer Blue kit. I think I'm pretty sure, yeah, the Project Life. Is it Gossamer Blue? I'm thinking Gossamer Blue or Ellie Studio. I'm pretty sure Gossamer Blue. But I usually, when you have separate stamps like that, there's always going to be a space. Even though you butt the stamps together, there's always going to be like a bigger space, like between the birth and the day. So I knew I shouldn't have stamped it together like that, but I did anyway. And it's okay. It's happy birth. It is a birthday. So, but usually I would have just did happy birth, and then after stamping it, I would have put the day as close to it as possible instead of having it all 3 stamps together like that. But anyway, you can see I use my Versamark pad, and then heat embossed it with my favorite Ranger detailed embossing powder in the gold. And I'm putting it all together. And at first I was like, should I use white embossing? But I like gold, so the gold was kind of nice. And then of course I need a wink of Stella all over. I was like, I'm just going to put it on the petals and that's it. And it looks beautiful on the pink petals and the cup. Then I set the cup. Oh, well, I got a wink of Stella all these cute little flowers. And I really like how it turned out. Then I'm like, well, what about the stars? They have to be sparkly too. And then, yeah, and the bees. And the flower pots. So that's how it looks. Look how beautiful and glittery it is. And it dries so quick, so much quicker than stickles. I mean, they each have their own kind of look. But anyway, for the inside, I use the Simon Says stamp sentiment for the inside. And I also like, because that's such a big sentiment, sometimes I misstamp, like not all of it comes out. I end up using, what is this? I think my MFT stamp ink pad, and then it actually stamped out well. So that's why I use the Misty. And that's my card, guys. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Bye.